Ow, the edge. It never ends. And neither do I. It's like the first time in a while I'm not starting the stream with the game already loaded, or with the game loading rather. Okay, let's go transparent mode. I'll play Tetris Effect Connected, but I always would rather play in VR since it's too much effort to set up. Especially since you have it on EGS. I mean, the game is great. I imagine it looks amazing in VR. I imagine that's an amazing experience to have in VR. I still play it every week because I'm trying to get the last event avatar from single player mode. I've never finished multiplayer either. I have to finish the Zodiac mode in that. I still haven't gotten Tetris Forever either yet, and I'm waiting to see if the physical edition of that will come out, because that'd be a cool thing to own physically. It is, your VR setup just sucks. I don't like putting my VR headset on and off. I have it out now. I used to have it in the box constantly, and it would be a pain in the ass to like take everything off the box, open it, get the shit out, and then put it on. But now I just have it like set up on my my little like container over in the corner. That said, like I said, I have too much crap again. I need to get rid of some stuff. Oh, I forgot to mention, I got a GAN 12 maglev speed cube the other day. That thing is it's really cool. If only I knew how to solve Rubik's cubes properly. Anyway, we're back with Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutor's Gambit. We are in the second present-day section of Turnabout Legacy. Really hope I could upgrade to a new headset soon. Still rocking the 2016 Vive, really. I know how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Now, is that a lie, or is that you just blowing smoke? The way you lie reminds me of Karma sometimes. The way he lies on stream. Not Von Karma. I mean Karma. Friend Karma. Ink Fox. Anyway, peel the colors off, then put them back on. Yeah, a lot of people do that. You can't do that with the Speed Cube because they don't use stickers. It's just solid plastic colors. So anyway, in the past, we saw Edward's father, Gregory, try to solve a case involving a dead chef, and it ultimately concluded with them finding out that the body had gone missing somehow. And now in the present, we had just found a body floating in the fountain, a body that looks strangely familiar. And we're gonna figure all this out. There's about like 2 or 3 hours of this case left, so we could finish this and then start case 4 tonight. Edward's finger has too many animation frames. Hey, VDA Phoenix, right? How you doing? Thank you for the follow. They really went through the trouble. They put the effort out to make these look nice. Not lying in a serious way, just making jokes is all. Okay, that's fine. That's what the Kappa emote's for, though. You could throw that at the end of a statement, so I know you're joking. Cube. My cube came pre-lubed. So I have the cube lube. Anyway, it's April 2nd, 2:10 p.m. Zodiac Hall Fountain Room. That's pretty much how things went down. Those are the facts of IS-7 as far as I'm concerned. I'm finally learning the truth about my father's last case. So what happened at the trial? Well, we lost. Von Karma did a real number on us. Really? You couldn't prove that Mr. Tangaroa was innocent? Oh, we could prove it all right. I had a decent little pile of evidence in our favor. Problem was, we underestimated Von Karma. He fought even dirtier than we'd feared. Can imagine, secure conviction at all costs. That was always his guiding principle. Yeah, ain't that the truth. Anywho, the trial dragged on and on. Whole thing took about a year in the end. I'll never forget the day the verdict came down. December 28th that following year. It's April now, so... Ooh, mama. Talking about over 17 years ago. Time sure does fly, huh? December 28th. I was there 17 years ago, sitting in the courtroom gallery. Joshua Ruxpin, thank you so much for the follow. Y'all are blowing me up tonight, literally. Now we'll save that for later. It's too early. Serious moment. Just before the trial got started, Gregory noticed that Samson was looking even worse than usual. Turns out the poor guy had finally reached his limit. It was so bad, even said he wanted to be found guilty. Wait, you mean they forced a confession out of him? Come on, Capcom. You would think that with this game being out for so many months now, they would have patched all these typos out. Wait, you mean they forced a confession out of him? Yeah. Von Karma got what he'd been pushing for from the very beginning. And when Gregory tried to drop the bombshell about there being no body to speak of, he learned that Von Karma had used the power of the police to head him off at the pass. Even had himself a fake autopsy report. But that wasn't the end of it. Von Karma had gotten Samson to falsely testify against himself to being an accessory to murder in court. Combined with his confession, the poor guy's goose was well and truly cooked. But Gregory still had his ace in the hole, though. Von Karma was an absolute cunt, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. The same ace he had asked Detective Bad to help him with. Exactamundo. He knew he needed one last card to play if they squeezed the confession out of Samson. So he had Bad record all of Samson's interrogations. Guess Detective Bad really wanted to know the truth too, huh? We all did, but he was a trooper. Stayed with the case even after Von Karma took him off it. He was tied up in some other big case too. Good old Bad. I don't make him like that anymore. Well, he was tied up in the case because he was part of that case. It's weird to see Edgeworth's father in that suit after seeing him in the coat. He's like the only character that has two outfits. Anyway, Gregory presented the recordings as proof that Samson's confession was coerced. And you know what? It almost worked. A cop named Ian Seidman got fired. Samson's interrogator and the initial detective before Bad, he took the fall for pretty much the whole thing. But Von Karma didn't get away scot-free. In fact, he was disciplined by the chief prosecutor for the one and only time in his 40-year career. Why does everyone wear their court outfits everywhere? Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Why does Samson Tangaroa wear the same outfit in prison that he's wearing in real life? Or outside of prison in real life? Still, Samson himself couldn't stomach another day in court. So when that guilty verdict came down, it didn't just signal the end of that day, but of the whole sad affair. I don't remember a lot myself, but my father's face when they declared Mr. Tangaroa guilty. I was a young child at the time, but even I could tell how much he was hurting inside. He just doesn't have any other clothes, yeah. I guess Phoenix has the casual outfit and AJ, and the before college outfit, before lawyer outfit. Gregory wanted to appeal the ruling, of course. He would have done anything to clear Samson's name. But then, well, you know what happened next. Prison is fake, yeah. Poor guy. He never got the chance. I should have left with him that day. I'll always blame myself for not doing that. But I shoved that aside and obsessed over something else instead. Or rather, someone else. I hated what you did. Hated you for choosing to stick with Von Karma. I hope you can forgive me. No, you had every right to hate me. I went on to become a prosecutor as planned, and that's when Mr. Von Karma showed me this case file. According to these records, Mr. Tangaroa was convicted as the main culprit in Mr. Frost's murder. Nope, that's not right. Samson was convicted as an accessory to murder. Strange. The file clearly states that he was the perpetrator. Plus, I'm fairly certain that all of Mr. Von Karma's cases were successfully solved. Mind if I take a peek at those? This file's been doctored. That part about the verdict, it's been changed. What? Here, feast your peepers on this. Samson Tangaroa, age 39, organizer of confectionery contest. Victim's body was found inside one of his creations, leading to his arrest. While in detention, Tangaroa discovered that he had a taste disorder, which was subsequently cured via medication. Verdict: convicted as an accomplice based on his confession. Convicted as an accomplice? That's a copy of the file they have on record at the courthouse. Then why is my copy so different? Well, you said it came from Von Karma, yeah? My guess is he didn't want Gregory's son thinking there was a murderer out there still at large. Didn't want you looking into it again before the statute of limitations was up. So everything I believed about this case was a lie? Like they say, we all gotta start somewhere. What's important is you know what's what now. The statute of limitations may have run out, but the truth's still out there, you know? That bitch-ass hoe. It's like they wanted to give Gregory a proper design for his appearance, but they were still locked to that one image of him from the original game, yeah. Well, they had to use that outfit for that trial, because that's when he got shot. So it's like we have to have his outfit match. Otherwise, it would make no sense. I inherited Samson's case when your old man passed. Prosecution handed it off to somebody else, too. The great Von Karma wasn't going to bother facing off against a rookie like me, was he? Anyway, long story short, the killer was never found, and Samson was found guilty instead. That's terrible. Is there really nothing we could do to help him? Not without the real perp, I'm afraid. Until then, his confession stands. Speaking of which, I didn't find out until after the verdict had been handed down, but Von Karma had threatened Samson and made him a deal. Told him if he didn't confess, he'd make sure Judy was convicted instead. How could he? Samson knew there was no way Judy could have done it, of course. But he wasn't going to take any chances, so he did what he was told and confessed to keep her safe. Now riddle me this, Milesy boy. Riddle me this, Milesy boy. Why do you think your Uncle Eddie just happened to be in prison the day Bronco Knight died? Ah, that's right. You were there to see Mr. Tangaroa, weren't you? Bingo. Judy and I both promised we'd visit him every day. Didn't quite keep that promise, but Judy did. She's never missed one visit in all these years. Come rain or shine, she always shows up. But none of that changes the fact that Samson is still being unduly punished day after day. How heartbreaking. We've got to do something, Mr. Fender. Give me a hug first, then we'll do something. Oh, kiddo, that's why we came, baby. Doesn't look like Ace Attorney enough in that outfit. The ice sculptures are back on display, just like they were all those years ago. Yeah, but what about friggin', what about, like, what's his name? Nayuta Sadmahi in, Ace Attorney 6. Literally wearing, like a priest's outfit. What a slimeball Von Karma is. Let's stab him again. Trust me, there's even more to this that you don't know about yet. I'm not even joking when I say there's characters involved in this case that we haven't even, like, touched on. He got stabbed? Okay, no. So, alright, spoilers for the first Ace Attorney game, which you should know about if you're watching this. Miles was, what, 9 years old when his dad died? Yeah, blame a kid for going with an adult. Yeah. Well, why didn't Fender step up to the plate? He was 19, he could have legally adopted Miles. Especially in this world. In this world, they're very loose about child adoption, apparently. So no, what happened was, Von Karma was perfect in every way. And he got his first and only penalty in that trial that they were just talking about. And Von Karma was so insanely pissed about getting a penalty, not even losing the case, just getting a penalty, that when he found Edgeworth's father unconscious in an elevator, which happened because there was an earthquake and the power went out and he passed out due to a lack of oxygen. What happened was a bailiff was in the elevator with him. Yeah, you know he shot him. Okay. Alright, never mind then. I'm not gonna explain. Because I just realized explaining it's so confusing because then you have to talk about the fact that you know, Yanni Yogi was in the elevator with him, and then Kid Miles threw the gun and shot Von Karma in the shoulder. Anyway, it's flimsy reasoning in the past, but nowadays it's like whatever. Those ice sculptures are back on display, just like they were all those years ago. And we're going to see what we can find out, right, Miles Areno? I'm a prosecutor, Fender. I don't look at these things in the same way as you or my father. Miles. But that doesn't matter right now. Speaking as a prosecutor, not as a prosecutor, but as Miles Edgeworth, I want to know the truth behind both of these cases, and I'm not leaving until I do. Really are old Gregory's son, through and through. Alrighty then, now that that's sorted, we can really get to work. Good thing I brought the IS-7 case file and evidence with me today, huh? Here, documents first. Who doesn't love paperwork, am I right? Parts in red ink are my annotations. Thank you, Fender. Note, statute of limitations expired 3 years ago on December 24th. Samson Tangaroa's mansion, Tangaroa's room. Date December 24th. I like how it just says 18 years ago instead of 2001, because they don't want to be specific about the year, even though that's exactly when it took place. It's 2000, not 2001. Murder weapon, rock salt lamp. Prosecutor, Von Karma. Defense attorney, Edgeworth. Artie Frost, age 38, also known as Paul Halik, under which name he was a renowned sculptor in France, contesting the confectionery contest. Body was discovered in Tangaroa's room. Cause of death was blood loss following a blow to the head. No detailed autopsy report due to the body going missing. So it's everything we had before, just with a couple extra notes on it. Victim of the IS-7 incident. His body went missing not long after it was discovered. Samson Tangaroa. Look at him. Look at him now. He's still got the white hair. Having received a guilty verdict for his purported role in the IS-7 incident, he is now serving out his prison sentence. 57. That makes sense because he was 39 before. Why do... Is it just me or do Eustace and Artie, like, look similar? Like, Artie almost looks like he could be an older, like, more worn-out Eustace. Thank you, Fender. That was not his voice. And here's some evidence for you. Enjoy! Quite a few, so I take a minute to scope them out if I were you. Small mountain of evidence from the IS-7 incident received from Fender. Yes, I see. I'll take a look at them in a bit. Small mountain of it. I mean, it is a small... It's a couple photos, and... It's the photo of the salt lamp, which means that'll be evidence. Family photo. Photo of Frost, Gusto, and their sons. You hope Artie is Eustace's father? No, well, no, because Artie's kid is right here. It's this guy with the weird like Japanese style buzz where like the entire head is gray. Finger frame marks from back then, and then the Ultimate Cookbook, which we can't even look at them. You know, our current case is full of our current case is just full of loose threads too. Come to think of it, indeed, key players of that incident 18 years ago just happened to get caught up in another incident. Blah, blah, blah. It's also weird that the games take place in the then future was like kind of an accident, how they didn't think too hard about putting that date there at the time. Yeah, they really didn't. Well, remember that the games, you know, the original set of Ace Attorney games were made in the early 2000s. Ace Attorney 1 came out in 2001 in Japan. So they were like, well, if the incident takes place in modern day, but now it has to be 15 years later, that means it has to be 2016. But at the time, you know, they didn't have smartphones, so like all the phones are like big bricks in that in that game, and they had to keep that like as the style. Ow! Just hurt my fingernail. Ooh. Ice sculptures in the Winter Wing that are perfect replicas of the ones 18 years ago. Poison gas attack in the Autumn Wing, which has been disguised to look like the Winter Wing. The two chemicals that were found inside the Pisces statue's display case, ubiquium and asphyxion, that form a poisonous gas when mixed together. The victim of the gas attack, Carmelo Gusto, who was no stranger to the events of 18 years ago, and who is still unconscious and undergoing treatment in the medical room. And finally, we come to the body floating face down in the fountain. And the fact that the ice sculptures have melted, just as they did all those years ago. The events of the present day would appear to be intimately linked with the events of the past. Blah, blah, blah. Still hope he's his father, so Eustace is an orphan. That would make no sense because he died 17 years ago. Which means they may be able to help us learn more about what happened 18 years ago. Sounds good to me. Let's get investigating.
Objection!
Speaking of Eustace. Oh, no, you don't. Aren't you forgetting somebody? I could have sworn this is my investigation. Eustace is quite right. I do hope you aren't intending to obstruct him in his duties, Mr. Edgeworth. I would hate to have to add a guilty to my report to the committee. What am I guilty of now? Of course not. I am simply offering once again to do what I can to help with this investigation. Your offer is duly noted and duly declined. Oof, she isn't pulling any punches. The identity of the body from the fountain is currently being ascertained. It's only a matter of time until we have all the information we need. Even though it's very, very obvious looking at the back who it was. Perhaps I could help you speed that process along. I think I have an idea of who our mystery victim might be. What if there's almost like a miscommunication there, like someone told them put in the script, put 15 years before the game will release, and end up being put in the year the game releases. So what, like, it was supposed to be 2001 as when the games take place, but it, like, the incident was supposed to be, like, 80-something, like 84, 87, 86, there we go. Because, I mean, all the security camera images are always in black and white, too, so there you go. I do think it was meant to take place further in the past than it actually does. What? Really? Then you have to tell me. It's the law. Very well. It's like how when Hirohiko Araki was writing Part 4 of JoJo, he wrote that in the early 1990s, even though it takes place in 1999. So when Josuke is playing video games in one chapter, he has a Super Nintendo, but then when the anime came out, about however many years ago, about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, yeah. They actually updated it to be an N64 since it would be more accurate to the technology in 1999. What does she even mean about a report to the committee? What the hell did Edgeworth do that got his badge taken away? Well, first off, his badge has not been taken away. He's just under intense scrutiny right now by this committee because of his involvement in the last two cases. Fucks me up that Araki just wrote the parts, like, sometimes a whole decade in the future. Well, again, it's just because of how he wrote the timeline. Because, like, when he was writing Stardust Crusaders, that was fairly timely. It was, it took place at around the same time that he wrote it in. But then he was like, well, now I want to tell a story that takes place about, like, 12 years later with an older Jotaro. So he had to set it in 1999 as like the follow-up. And then from there, alright, well, I want to make the next part take place after the previous part, so it's got to take place after 1999. And I want Jotaro to have a daughter who's 18 in the next part, so it's got to take place even further in the timeline. And that's kind of why that happened, because essentially he wrote Stardust Crusaders to be modern day at the time he wrote it, and then everything else had to take place in the future, so he had to actually write stuff in the future. So which was the first case in this game again, and why the fuck is she out for him after he's helped on the right criminal 2 times now? Because there's international incidents involved in this. The first case had to do with the president of Zhangfa almost getting assassinated, which wasn't true. It ended up being a giant ploy. Anyway, maybe it isn't just the ice sculptures that have resurfaced after 18 years. The body in the fountain may also have been a visitor from the past. Yes, it was Delicious Scone. Face down from a recent bender.
Take that!
I believe the body in the fountain is that of the man who was murdered here 18 years ago. Mr. Artie Frost. What? You're saying that was poor Chillywinks? I don't know, I still don't have her accent. How is Edgeworth involved in that case? Because he solved it. He stepped on the plane without permission, which is technically invading extraterritorial rights. Wait, who the heck is Chillywinks, or Artie, or whoever it is you're talking about? Artie Frost was a famous sculptor, Eustace, although he was better known as Paul Halik. The sculptures on display here were all his works. No way, sounds like he did well for himself. Always good to encounter a fellow winner. Mr. Frost was also the victim in the IS-7 incident. Judge Gavel knows about the IS-7 incident. Mr. Edgeworth, the IS-7 incident is an 18-year-old case. And according to police records, the victim's body was recovered and an autopsy duly carried out. Sure, that's what the records say. The records can't always be trusted. What are you insinuating? That while the records say stuff like body totally recovered, the defense back then begged to differ. Not that it stopped the prosecution from shutting them down hard, of course. Kay was there, yep. He's got a flip phone. Yeah, this is Winter. What? Really? What is it, Eustace? The body. We have an ID. Some sculptor named called Frost or something, so I guess Edgeworth called it? Good goddess of justice! So my father's deductions were right all along. Well, Judge Gavel, I'd say this changes things, wouldn't you? Perhaps now you'll admit I might be of use in this case. More than a certain junior prosecutor, anyway. No fair! You're trying to steal the win! I'm doing no such thing. All I want is to uncover the truth. And if we're going to get to the bottom of what happened here, we'll need to work together. Eustace will remember that. Hey, Merc. We do not need to do anything, and you don't need to know the truth. This case is none of your concern.
Objection!
Whoa there, Judge G. I think you might be wrong about that. Another of your interruptions, Mr. Fender? Yep. See, I was on the defense team for IS-7, so this case is very much my concern. I was one of those pesky kids pushing the theory that the body had actually gone missing. Prosecutor at the time may have brushed us off, but you can't deny the testimony of your eyes. Or to put it a little more bluntly... I completely skipped what I just said there. Or to put it more bluntly... the prosecution's case was rotten from the ground up. When there's been a miscarriage of justice by the prosecution, it's the committee's job to fix it, no? And who better to help you unpick this mess than someone who was there at the time? Unless you have an ulterior motive. Judge Gavel seems to know the facts of the IS-7 incident in some detail. In which case, I suspect she must be here on the committee's behalf. Your connection to this case is noted, Mr. Mr. Fender, but I failed to see how it concerns Mr. Edgeworth. Fendworth is their fusion. He's the son of the original defense attorney and the protege of the case's lead prosecutor. And if that's not enough for you, he was at the trial, too. I think it's just possible he might have a little something to bring to the table, don't you? Very well. You may both assist in the investigation. But only if you refrain from interfering with the work of others. The Winter Wing is off limits for now. This room, however, is all yours. Alrighty. Great to hear we're on the same wavelength, G. Why don't we bring it in to show we're all on the same side of justice? Do not test me, Mr. Fender. Your permission to investigate can be revoked at any time. Duly noted, Your Honor. So turn up for the books, huh, Milesy? We get to do our thing after all. Thanks to your immeasurable help, as always. No sweat. Besides, I was mostly doing it for me. Fender's touched a nerve, yeah. Okay, I'll be investigating my own things. Just holler if you find something interesting. I will. Okay, shall we? Heck yeah, let the investigation commence. We're still unclear on two key facts. How Mr. Frost's body came to where we found it, and the source of the ubiquium. You're right, we need some more intel. Indeed, let's focus on the ubiquium first and foremost. It's used in stuff like dish soap and paint, right? Correct. It also is bright red in color and has a distinctive minty fragrance. Okay, sounds like we know what we're looking for. Seems the police have already removed the body. Why did the body of a victim from 18 years ago turn up in this fountain? And why wasn't it all rotten and stuff? Did it slowly shuffle its way here? Need I remind you that zombies aren't real? It seems likely that the body was preserved somehow. Really? Is that even possible? Hey, Mr. Forensics guy, anything to report? Yes, ma'am. Traces of both ubiquium and asphyxion have been detected in the fountain. I'm gonna say they were probably carried here by the stream from the Autumn Wing. In addition to those two chemicals, there's also a large amount of sugar. The composition of the sugar is being analyzed as we speak. There's sugar in the fountain. Where would it even have come from? From the color and aroma, I'd say this is a puddle of spilt tea. And look, there's a small chunk of ceramic next to it. Design looks familiar. Oh, by the way, we did groceries this week, and I got myself a thing of Dr. Pepper. So there will be some hot Dr. Pepper in the future. Maybe tonight, actually, if I take a break in the middle of the stream. I guess somebody must have broke something? I know that insignia. And a certain high-strung somebody just might know a little something, too. Why is there a lift cart just sitting out in the open? Guess somebody must have been moving something heavy. The top of the platform seems to be wet. You know, I've got a funny feeling I've seen this thing somewhere before. You mean like 18 years ago? Yeah, all coming back to me now. I last saw it in Frost's room. Must have used it to move the ice sculptures around. It's one of those fancy numbers where you could change not only the platform's height, but even its angle. You had one of these, you could move giant lumps of ice around, no sweat. Top of the platform is wet, used by Frost to transport ice 18 years ago. And which sugar is not code for cocaine, yeah. Oh, just think of the possibilities. I could really use one of these. Still don't explain what it's doing here, though. Bit of a head-scratcher, but we should give it a think, yeah? Indeed. After all, it just might have something to do with our case. Hey there, Mazzarino. What's the situation with the investigation? Things are progressing. I think a fuller picture of what happened is beginning to emerge. Good to hear. Guess I better step my game up too, then. This case really seems to have a lot in common with the incident from 18 years ago. And how? It's got the lot. Melting statues in the Winter Wing and even the murder victim's body. But how did nobody ever figure out that the body had gone missing? Frost had no family apart from his son. And, well, the kid kind of vanished. Nobody's seen him since around the time of the incident. Gusto's son, too. Him and his best pal from school both just up and disappeared. What? And they were never found? Gusto's boy wasn't, not as far as I heard anyhow. Guess Frost's kid turned up in the end, though. He collected his inheritance at some point. But yeah, with no family around just after the incident, Frost got no funeral, no nothing. So no need for the police to release the body, and no need for anybody to find out they didn't have it. And they filed their fake autopsy report, and nobody was any the wiser. Well, almost nobody. Still can't believe Mr. Von Karma would have stooped so low. I mean, he killed my father, but I still can't believe it. I think I get it. So this is it, huh? The key to unraveling this whole mystery. Yes, perhaps. Great, you keep hold of it then, yeah? Quickly now, back in your pocket it goes. Guess he doesn't think much of it. Miles Edgeworth, Prosecutor. Gotta say, never saw that coming. I'm sorry, Fender. Hey, that wasn't a dig. You had your reasons, I'm sure. I'm just glad you'll get to see what the courtroom looks like from the other side for once. It's a whole different ballgame, let me tell you. Actually, I have stood the defense's bench once before. And I have to say, it wasn't bad. Except for the part where Von Karma's daughter whipped you repeatedly. That wasn't so great. Boy, did this thing get smashed up good, huh? Indeed, to the point where it's hard to make out what it might have once been. It'd be nice if it had some kind of distinguishing feature or something. Wait, haven't we seen these letters before? This is the mark of the sculpture Paul Halik, I believe. But how did a chunk of ceramic end up in the middle of a puddle of tea anyway? Just a hunch, but one suspect quickly comes to mind. When was he on the defense again? Last case of the third main Ace Attorney game. The first court day, Phoenix falls into a river beforehand, and he gets a fever and is unable to attend. So Edgeworth essentially is the investigator for both the first day of the case and the first court day, and Franziska was the prosecutor. Edgeworth even arranged all of it. So that no one would recognize him in the defense's position. The top of the platform is wet. Maybe someone used it to move something liquidy around? Yes, but the question is who and what. It's the Pornhub logo? Shut up. You're really turning into Karma, like, with all this stuff. In fact, I'm giving you a bonk for that. It's PH, you can't not make that joke. Yeah, but it looks nothing like the Pornhub logo. I would know. It wasn't Edgeworth, it was Smedgeworth. The hell? What is happening tonight? Mr. Winter was very clear that you're only allowed to investigate in this room, so I'm afraid I can't let you pass. Sorry, sir. It wouldn't make much difference if you did, officer. You're standing in front of a wall. Oh, but we all know a few brooks won't stop you, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, sir. Wow, he actually sounds kind of scared of you. Just what kind of reputation do I have down at the precinct? Selection of trophies won by Paul Halik, or rather Artie Frost. Evidently, he was a very well-respected artist. Well, you've got one too, Mr. Edgeworth. So it's about time I won one too. Guess I'll have to find some thieving contests to enter. Or you could set something up. Something with a nice ceremony at the end, all that. Yes, followed by a swift round of arrests. Seems the elevator is only accessible to select individuals. Wonder what's upstairs. Among other things, the medical room. That's where Mr. Gusto is being treated. Hope he's alright. We've got some questions that need answering as soon as he wakes up. Since there's no way of knowing when that might be, we should explore other avenues in the meantime. Put sunflowers by the door. Nice. Fitting adornment for the entrance to the summer wing, I suppose. Summer is also vacation time. And every great thief knows that means tourists with bulging wallets. Pickpocketing K. Isn't that a little beneath the great thief? Yeah, maybe you're right. Have I told you that I'm already sick of winter? I'm already ready for it to be warm again outside. Those are tulips by the door, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, it leads to the spring wing. Ah, spring. Popular time to move house. Which makes it open season for great thieves. Housebreaking is a little beneath the great thief, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I guess you're right. Statue of a man and a woman in old-timey clothes. Did Paul Halik make these as well? Yes, it seems that he created them later in his life, once he had begun to make a name for himself. His wife pushed him to sculpt the two of them as ancient gods, and he couldn't say no to his beloved. The title is The Beautiful Goddess Venus and Her Humble Servant. Oh, talk about putting your goddess on a literal pedestal. Why did I look up? I was looking down. Miss Bound's tea set is laid out neatly on the serving cart. The pamphlet says the gallery is famous for its tea. Understandably so. The cup we were given earlier was delicious. Looks like all this stuff was designed by Mr. Frost. Interesting. In that case, I think we better take a closer look. The tablecloth draped over the cart is pure white and completely spotless. And it's just waiting for me to grab by the edge, clear my mind, and whoosh! Okay, I cannot stress enough how bad of an idea that would be. Aw, come on, what's the worst that could happen? Even if it does go all sideways, we'll just wind up with a cool tea-colored tie-dye. Yes, well, I'd rather it remained white. Plus, I don't think Miss Bound would appreciate us meddling with it. Really? But there's so many other colors that would totally work. Pink, sky blue, tea leaves brown. So this dishware was made by Artie Frost. Looks very fancy. Oh, it is. I'm willing to bet that this set can fetch something in the thousands of dollars. Also, looks very painful to drink from because of the shape. So let's not try to touch any of it unless we absolutely have to, okay? Whoa. This stuff's really worth that much? Stop it, Kay. I could see your eyes lighting up. Miss Bound must really be a fan of Mr. Frost, like Fender said, to still have all this. Designed by Paul Halik, one of Judy Bound's prized possessions. Hey, Edgy! What is it? You be careful with that teapot, you hear? Why is Larry so concerned all of a sudden? Honored guests. I can pour you a cup if you like. So what if the main series will ever adapt this gameplay style? They'll still stick with tradition. Being on an HD console would be a good time to mix things up. I would like to see that for Ace Attorney 7. Like a full-on 3D like exploration part. Miss Bound. Ah, Judy! I am good, thanks. No tea for me. You two knock yourselves out. Huh? Thank you for the offer. Yes, why not? A quick break won't hurt. 2 cups coming right up. This smells great. Wow, it tastes even better than it smells. What type of tea is this, Mr. Edgeworth? It's Ceylon, I believe. It's usually identifiable by its citrus aroma, but... Miss Bound, is this the same blend you served this morning? Oh yes, is it alright? There isn't anything wrong with it, is there? Oh no, not at all. It's just that the cup you gave me earlier had a slightly different aroma. Really? That's odd. I used the exact same blend both times. Can't see what could account for the difference. Hey, what's the big idea? Quit being mean about Judy's tea, will ya? What's gotten under your skin, Larry? Nothing. You're just rude, that's all. Haven't had tea in so long. I love tea. I love tea more than coffee. Larry Butz is a painter. Now I've seen everything. Well, I mean, if you'd seen the end of the third Ace Attorney game, that's when he starts working on his painting, and now he's pretty good at it. Can see why they didn't for the 3DS one, since the diorama investigation style works better for the 3D gimmick. Yeah. You don't even try to call me by the right name. It's Louise Donham, dang it. You know what? I'm done. I'm not talking to any of you anymore. I'm just not talking to you, rather. Well, that was childish, even for him. Wow, what happened there? Let's ask him about it later, shall we? Talking to Miss Bound is a bigger priority right now. May not have any evidence to prove that she's the culprit here, but it does seem likely that the poison gas was her doing. A caddy containing Ceylon tea leaves. It's a well-crafted tin canister designed to prevent moisture and sunlight from damaging its contents. Not a bad thing to use considering the quality of the blend Miss Bound serves. Larice Donham, can't remember if that got brought up before. So it does. At the end of the final Ace Attorney game, Larice Donham, pseudonym of Larry Butz, my friend since childhood. He fancies himself as something of an artist. The final case of the third game, he essentially takes on that name because he's studying under a popular artist named Elise Donham. And he does that to kind of reinvent himself after failing in life so many times. Which is honestly, you know, it's played as a joke, but it's a pretty cool thing for him to do with himself, considering, like, he doesn't have that much considering how much... Because he kept thinking he wasn't good at anything, and he had to jump between odd jobs. It's also, you know, not for nothing, but it's like, it's hinted at the very beginning of the series, too, that, that Larry is kind of, like... on some level skilled at crafts, because he makes those clocks out of the Thinker statues. Which, I mean, probably isn't the most advanced thing in the world, but clearly he knew he had enough know-how to make them. So, it's kind of always hinted that, like, he's always had some skill at machines and crafting. Gumshoe's the one with skill at machines. Also, it's implied that he does still work his odd jobs, too. Like, in the first case of this game, they mentioned that they borrowed the Steel Samurai balloon from the hot dog vendor at the lake, and that's implied to have been Larry, because of the way they describe him. What I want from a new Ace Attorney is proper focus on a new protagonist, for them not to be cowards and fall back on Phoenix again. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they've introduced 2 more protagonists and already wrapped up their stories at this point, so there's like, what else are they gonna do? Unless they just stick with Phoenix again, there's really not going to be any progress made there. These letters say PH, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, they show that the pot was made by Paul Halik. There's initials, obviously. Right, but I thought his real name was Artie Frost. It was, thereby making this a piece of by the victim of the IS-7 incident as well. And his work seemed to be everywhere in the Zodiac Hall. That's one swanky teapot. That's one way of putting it. I'd lean more towards eccentric myself. Whatever it is, it won't do for a great thief to remain so ignorant about such chic things. Chic tweets. Actually, your ignorance is my bliss. Like father, like son, awarded. That's if you check the teapot with both Gregory and Miles. Make a brave move and have no returning character except the judge, yeah. I mean, I think that's what Apollo Justice was supposed to be until they wrote Phoenix back into the story. Spoilers for that, by the way. That's gonna be the next. That's gonna be the next Ace Attorney I stream, because on terms of the timeline, that comes up next. It's a man with a moon-shaped head and a woman with a sun-shaped head. Man's got a real pain look in his eyes, though. This is another Paul Halik piece? Yes, from his younger years, when he was something of a dreamer. He depicted those closest to him by means of a motif taken from nature. The piece is titled "My Parents." Guess it's the mom showing the brightest in that house. Ba-dum-bum. The sculpture of a brave warrior battling against a serpent. Did Paul Halik make this one too, Mr. Edgeworth? He did. It seems he was fascinated by fantasy and mythology when he was a young man. This piece embodies the tragic yet gritty determination of the young as they face an impossible situation. It's called the math test. Talk about relatable. This thing in front of the door is a fir tree, right? Yes, they're usually associated with winter, but this door leads to the autumn wing. Suppose it's all part of someone's elaborate ruse. I could paint it red for that autumny feel. Evergreens stay green all year round, Kay, hence the name. Sure, I knew that. Oh man, hang on. Hashtag relatable. It's gonna be dirty F here tonight again. Go lower and go lower from that each night. Oh, what is the temperature here? Just finished watching another friend beat Apollo Justice. Nice. Again, let's not spoil anything that I haven't streamed yet. Let's see, where I live, it's 32 right now, and it's gonna remain in the 30s all week. With some possible snow next weekend. Please no snow during MagFest, please. God help me if there's snow during MagFest. Do you mind, Mr. Winner? You're in my way. I do mind, actually, and I'm not going anywhere. You'll just have to go around me. Well, we just thought we might want you to... Well, oh God, what's wrong with me? Well, we just thought you might want to move to a better spot, that's all. What better spot? I demand you show it to me at once. Is that really all it takes to make you do whatever we want? The door here is marked with a nice autumny-looking tree, and yet it leads to the winter wing. I suppose it's all part of the deception. Could steal the leaves if you like, make things a little more wintry. Think you'd better leave them alone, Kay. Won't spoil. I'm kind of bummed that I'm seeing repeats soon. I'm not doing Apollo Justice anytime soon. Once I finish this, I'm going on an Ace Attorney break. Because I got plenty of other stuff to stream. I essentially do every series in chunks. I did the Great Ace Attorney series in, like, the course of a year. I did the original trilogy over the course of, like, 4 or 5 months. I did this over the course of about 4 or 5 months. And I have no idea when I'm going to do Apollo Justice. But the problem with that collection is that Spirit of Justice takes like 60 hours to finish. So it's not going to be the same as I'm doing for these other collections. I'm probably going to do Apollo Justice, then Dual Destinies, and then probably take another break before I jump back in for Spirit of Justice. Because otherwise that's going to be like 120 hours of reading among 3 games, and I'm just not up for that right now. Anyway, I'm gonna grab a drink here. 1 second. If you're wondering what's gonna come up on my stream in the near future, you can expect Final Fantasy VII Rebirth starting the Tuesday when I get back from MagFest. Because it's coming out on Steam that weekend. So I will be playing that when I come home. I'll probably sprinkle in some Spelunky. And maybe another game in there that I might play some of off-stream and record for when I'm at MagFest. Though, to be honest, I don't really need to do that, because with the amount of this game that's left, there's going to be enough VODs to cover, like, several weeks. Even when I come back. So I might space them out a little less thin. Like, the 2 really short parts from the last stream that were only, like, 30 minutes each, I'm going to probably put those both up on the same day, instead of, spread them out over 2 days. I don't want to play the Great Ace Attorney soon, but I also don't want to get too fixated on something again when I still got to focus on studying soon. Yeah, save it. The Great Ace Attorney series is best experienced all in one go. Because the story is literally just, like it's 2 connecting parts. Like, there's not even any, like... It's not even anything isolated. Everything is connected in that. You want to play through both games, like, close to each other if you can. Watched Ace Attorney with 4 people so far. I don't think I've seen any repeats so far. Wow. It's 50 to 60 where you are. Oh, you posted that GDQ emote, made me remember. There was something I forgot to mention. I actually did donate to GDQ. Unfortunately, my comment did not get read because it was like right at the end before the Metroid run started. But, you know, it's fine. I donated to a good cause, and that's all that matters. Body's been taken back to the lab, sir. Autopsy's underway. And how's the rest of the fountain looking? Rather beautiful, actually, sir. Water's crystal clear and kind of soothing. Almost as if there wasn't a body floating in it not long ago, hmm? Don't think you've gotten away with anything, Mr. Edgeworth. I'll be reporting your actions to the committee. Do whatever you need to do, Judge Gavel. And we'll do the same. You're the self-styled great thief, correct? Mr. Edgeworth's association with such a character will be of interest to the committee too, of course. Go ahead and report me to your stupid committee. It'll be the toast of the thieving community. Looks like Judge Gavel will have to think up some new threats if she wants to intimidate Kay. Also, not for nothing, but one of the original Yatagarasus was a prosecutor, so... and another... Nah, all three of them were members of law enforcement, so what do you want? There were three? Yes, okay, so this is, again, spoilers for the first Edgeworth game, but again, we're watching the second one, so I'm assuming that's okay with everyone watching this. The Yatagarasu, was the previous Great Thief. Thought it was just her father. No, it was Byrne Faraday, her father, Callisto Yu, which wasn't her real name, the defense attorney. Byrne was a prosecutor. Byrne was a defense attorney. Callisto was a, wait, no. What's the other way around? I can't remember. Byrne was a defense attorney. I don't remember. One that was a defense attorney. Callisto was a prosecutor, and then Bad was the other one. Bad was he made all the evidence disappear. He was the third member of the crew. That's the other big case Fender mentioned just a while ago when talking about Bad. Tyrell Bad. That's his name. Donated a couple times over the years. Never had my message read, unfortunately. Makes me sad because I wanted to say something about my friend who passed from cancer. She was a fan of GDQ too. But I get, they get an insane amount of donations now. Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on when you donate, because there are quiet times. When I hosted, it was pretty quiet, because it was 6 in the morning. Like during a 3 a.m. run, yeah. Hello there, dearie. Still investigating away, are you? Found anything interesting? No, dearie. Well, nothing much anyway. Silly girl, that wasn't a dearie moment. That was more of a lambkin. Sweetheart is for when you're being sympathetic, of course, and treasure is for when they're in a tiz. Love is for people you're not that keen on, and petal is you use when you're trying to get someone's attention. Wow, I didn't realize there were so many rules. Mr. Edgeworth Petal, hope you're getting all this down. Don't even try it, Kay. Oh, dearie me. Thought Callisto was faking being the Yatagarasu. No, it was all three of them. Was Byrne the... I have to look it up now, because I actually forgot. Was Byrne the prosecutor, or was he the defense attorney? I love Byrne's face. He was, he definitely looked like he fucked. He was a prosecutor, so Callisto was the defense attorney. So what happened was... Byrne, you know, had access to... you know, police records and stuff. And, Callisto, as a defense attorney, would know all about, like, client relations and stuff like that. And then Tyrell Bad was able to destroy any evidence. So the three of them together made up the Yatagarasu. The thing was, though, that Callisto was kind of working them from the very beginning. She was always part of the smuggling ring. So when the Yatagarasu got close to the smuggling ring, that's when she took action and ended up fucking all that shit up back then. And killing Byrne. Going to keep this simple, Larry. You're hiding something, so just tell me what it is. Whoa, quit up with the glare off, you two. It's weird. Oh, come on, Kay. You know me better than that. I wasn't staring. I was struck by an idea for a picture. Now, Edgy, he was glaring. Yes, and I'll keep glaring at you until you tell us what it is you're hiding. Quit it. I already told you. I'm not talking to you anymore. You're talking to me right now. I mean, from now on. I'm not talking to you ever again. Starting... now. This is getting me nowhere. Suppose I'll just have to figure out what he's hiding first before I can get the whole truth out of him. Come on, Larry, what are you hiding? Not saying. Look, you two, this is no time for kids' games. Well, I certainly wasn't playing. It's pretty clear Larice isn't going to talk to you. Oh, he'll talk. Don't you worry about that. Need to know what Larry's hiding, and I think I might have an idea of what it is. Perhaps presenting him with the right piece of evidence will force him to come clean. With this, Would you mind taking a look at this for me, Larry? I guessed. I figured he was the one who broke the glass. So she was a fraud, but she was a fraud who made it into the group. Well, she did do work with the Yatagarasu that was legitimate, but she was also, like, a double agent from the beginning. And unfortunately, that did lead to Byrne's death, as well as the death of Macaw. Remember him? We gotta see if the creators... Be cool to actually get one of the prizes they show off. I donated my $10 this time. They had a new from Chrono Trigger figure. One that had its hands up so I could hold like a stylus or something. Let's see if the creator sells that too, and not one-of-a-kind thing. Oh, I saw at the end of the Echoes of Wisdom run, the runner was given a replica of the Orden sword from Twilight Princess, and there's also one up for grabs as part of the raffle. I actually ended up winning a prize from Fastest Furs this year because I donated it to it, even though I also worked it. Which just goes to show your time spent volunteering does not disqualify you from winning a prize if you donate, which is really nice. Nice of them. I won a controller of my choice, so I now have 2 Switch Pro controllers. I have a boxed one that I just haven't used. Because I'm like, well, I could probably use it for something. Because the thing is, it was either that or get an Xbox controller or a PS5 controller, and I'm like, I don't have either of those systems. Plus, with the Switch 2 coming out, couldn't hurt to have an extra controller, you know? New Desk Buddy figure, Chrono Trigger. Oh, that is really cute! So this was this the exact one that from the Magitex Craftworks? Yeah, I think that's them. So I remember that name coming up. That is really neat. Reminds me of the Sonic ball holder. I mean, phone holder. Excuse me. Do you mind taking a look at this for me, Larry? Larold. Oh, why would you show me that? Tell me, what is it about Mr. Bounce T set that's got you so agitated? I don't know what happened there. If you won't tell me, then perhaps you'd prefer to explain it to Judge Gavel. Wait, don't make me look bad in front of Verity. She thinks I'm sensible, cool, and clean-cut guy. I don't want her to see the real me. That's real low-down, dirty me. The real low-down, dirty me. I'm not so sure anybody here thinks you're particularly clean-cut, Larry. But if you don't want her to think badly of you, the best thing you could do is talk to me. Alright, I'll talk. Alright, Larry, enough is enough. Now confess. Is that any way to treat your best friend, Edgy? Is there any way for you to treat yours? By lying to him? Hiding things? I get the picture already. Stop glaring at me like that. I'll tell you everything, okay? Earlier, I thought Verity might like a cup of tea, so I went to pour one for her. But I got distracted and my hand slipped and... smash! I broke the teapot. A priceless work of art. It's in pieces because of me! No words exist to describe how far away I saw this coming from. Ouch, you really messed up this time, Larice. Yeah, you really shitted on your own balls there, buddy. See, Edgy? Everyone's going to think less of me now. Judy's never gonna forgive me for this. Crying to me won't do you any good. I think you need to apologize to Miss Bound. My teapot? I see. I'm sorry, Judy. I'm so sorry. I don't have any money, but I'll paint your portrait. I'll paint you 50 portraits. Please, Mr. Donham, it's really me who should be apologizing. How could I fail to notice that there were broken pieces of ceramics on the floor? Somebody could have been hurt. Here, let me make sure that this is safely disposed of. The teapot in question was designed by Artie Frost, correct? Understand it was something you've long treasured. You must be upset. Excuse me. Oh, I am. But of course, all things break eventually. And as luck would have it, I have another identical teapot. It's far from the end of the world. Is she less attached to Mr. Frost's work than she used to be? Can't believe this, Judy. You're the sweetest, the kindest. This other teapot you're talking about. It's the one sitting on top of the cart right now, right? What do you mean? Yeah, so when I smashed the first one, I tried to hide the pieces in the bottom of the cart. And that's when I saw the other pot under there. So I took it out and basically switched the 2 pots. Larry swapped the pot he broke with a different one. Oh, I see. Yep, and that's everything I have to tell you. I'll be extra careful not to break the other one, I promise. You have no shame whatsoever, do you? I'm sorry. It's really quite alright. Thank you for being so honest. See, Edgy, isn't Judy the absolute best? I trust you won't take advantage of her kindness and will make amends somehow. Sure will. Once I make it as an artist, I'm going to give her one of my paintings. She was one of my models, after all. It's only fair. At this rate, I suspect he's likely to make more trouble than amends. Don't you think it'd be better for you to keep out of her way for a very long while? Oh, but I will be keeping out of her way, because I sketched her and the others already. Her and the others? Keen to see my work, huh? Yeah, I drew a few great sketches of some ravishing beauties. Want to see? Interested in Larissa's ravishing beauties, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm afraid you've greatly misjudged, Kay. Simply wish to see if Larry's captured any unusual details this time, too. Unusual details? Nothing's unusual about these. They're my best work yet. Really? Now I want to see them, too. Aw, you're the sweetheart, Kay. Alright, let me dig them out for you. Give me a sec, okay? Suppose I might as well take a look. So, these sketches of yours. Seriously, Edgy, if you wanted to check out my art, you should have just said so from the get-go. Here, feast your eyes on this. God, it's amazing, like, how good he actually is at it. What am I looking at here? I told you already, ravishing beauties. Just a few of the fair faces that caught my eye since I've been here, you know? There's Verity, Judy, and, somebody else. How'd you draw them all on the same page? Well, I meant to draw the room at first, just something to pass the time. And then I saw one beauty, and another, and well, I just scribbled them all down as I went. So these were all drawn at different times? Huh? Yeah, I guess. I did one of you too, Kay. You're on a different page, though. Wow, you did? I'm flattered. How true to life are these sketches? Did you only draw what you actually saw? Of course. Do you think I draw things I can't see? Like using my imagination? That's how being an artist kind of works. Sometimes. Nope, these are 100% true to life. Right down the exact shade of each color. So the colors are accurate. Interesting. Much of it pains me to admit it. Larry may provide me with a useful piece of evidence yet again. Serving cart in the sketch, for example. Compare that to the one here in the room. There's a clear contradiction between the two. Think a little deduction's in order. Can I borrow this page for a while, Larry? Sure thing. You want me to sign it for you? Just the page, please. Larry's sketches data jotted down in my organizer. Interesting, the art style is actually Larry's art style, yeah. Well, I mean, it's also implied that the picture at the end of the third game is his. And those are even better than this. These are more sketchy. What's the point of having a badge if you just keep it in your pocket? Proves my status as a qualified prosecutor. Meh, stuff like that. Just gets in the way of doing good work. What's that supposed to mean? As in, your official status doesn't mean a thing, man. It's about the person, not the badge. I mean, look at me. How many job titles have I had? But I'm still the same old me. Still the same old pain in the neck, too. You just couldn't help yourself, could you? Would it kill you to be nice just once in your life? Larry does a portrait of Edgeworth that comes out looking like the movie actor. Oh, wait, this page is a real beauty, right? Really done my subjects justice here. Which one's your favorite? Oh, I really couldn't decide. They're all perfect in their own way. I'm sure you think all of your portraits are perfect, don't you? Of course not. Not everybody's a suitable subject, you know? Take you, for example. You're the dictionary definition of super hot mess. What the fuck, Larry? I don't resemble that description, do I? Wow. I think he did that on purpose. He knew that would strike a chord with Edgeworth. I'm not ugly! And then he runs away and just runs out of the building. He just gets so insanely offended. Upset by the possibility that he may not be attractive. It's like when Kay brings up the ripples on his forehead. He gets so angry when that happens. Where were you before you rejoined us here, Miss Bound? I had to go and tell our visitors we're closed. Oh, and hand out a little something as an apology. Was there something you wanted to talk to me about? Yes, a few things, actually. Not least of all, The fact that I think you might be the one who set up the poison gas trap. The original ice sculptures melted 18 years ago, correct? How did you manage to recreate them? Oh, you know about what happened back then? In that case, you might also know I took pictures of them during the contest. I commissioned the creation of a set of replicas based on the photographs for this current exhibit. But why go to the trouble of creating replicas? Mr. Frost's Zodiac series was his great unfinished masterwork. I wanted to see it completed at last. Or rather, recompleted. It was my fault that the original set melted in the first place, after all. I see. And then was there any particular reason why Winter and Autumn Wings look so similar? Oh my, you really think they look alike? Perhaps I used some of the decorations from one and the other by accident? She's clearly lying, but I don't have the evidence to prove it just yet. Oh my, is that me? Yes, it was painted by the so-called artist over there. Edgeworth, why are you such a dick? There is literally no reason for him to be that much of an asshole when presenting art that nice to someone. It's wonderfully drawn. Would you mind if I kept it? I'm sorry, Miss Bound. I'm afraid it's an important piece of evidence. Oh, I see. That's a shame. I suppose Larry's charm is something of a talent if he can impress a gallery owner with sketches like these. They're not bad sketches. Also, Miss Bound is not wearing her apron there. The hunt is on. The truth will come out. But I don't know what that's about. I guess we're going to find out! Have I inadvertently stumbled into the set of Cake Crimes the Musical or something? Cake Crimes the Musical. This lift card, I heard it was in use 18 years ago too. That's right, it was in another room earlier until I brought it out here. It's very useful for moving large heavy objects around, you know, like a body, like a dead body. But why is it wet? Was it used to carry something wet, like a dead body? Bum. Sounds like the lucky noise from Mario and Luigi, which is making me want to play Partners in Time more. Must admit, I was a little surprised to learn that Gregory Edgeworth's son had become a prosecutor. But then I'm sure a lot has happened since. Yes, that much is certainly true, though I'll spare you the details. And yet the two of you are so alike. You may have chosen different paths, but I can tell you're every bit as righteous and noble as he was. It's very kind of you to say. When it came to his work, my father always had the strength of his convictions. But right now I'm like a ship lost at sea, not even sure which way to go, let alone who I should be. Oh. What was I gonna say? Minty fragrance. Tea smells different. Switch teapots. I suspect the difference in aroma is noticed due to the teapots having been switched. You do? Can't see what else it could have been. The tea itself hadn't changed. Why don't we ask Miss Bound to be sure? Miss Bound, the difference in aroma we noticed. Do you think it could have been because of the different teapot? I suppose so. My cup just now had a very subtle minty scent, rather like uva tea. Oh, I just remembered. I made some peppermint tea in that pot only yesterday. That must be where the minty aroma is coming from. Could that really be it? Teapot's leftover aroma. Minty fragrance. It's the Ubiquium! Edgeworth, you just ingested Ubiquium, bro. The tea from the teapot Larry switched in from under the cart smelled faintly of mint. Right. Miss Bounce said she used that pot to make peppermint tea yesterday. Yes, but there's something else that's been troubling me. Miss Bounce seemed to be more taken aback by the switching of the teapots than the breaking of one. You're right. You'd expect it to be the other way around. I suspect she might have been deliberately hiding the teapot underneath the cart. But why? One of the Ubiquium's key characteristics is this minty fragrance. So what if she had been hiding something in that teapot? What? In the teapot? It's simply a possibility, but one worth investigating, I believe. Mr. Winner, any luck finding that Ubiquium? Huh? Oh! My people are searching the entire gallery, but they haven't found anything yet. And what about you? Don't tell me you know where it came from. I may have an idea. Huh, I knew it. If I can't find it, there's no chance unless, no chance of useless... Wait, what? You do know where it came from? Yes. Where? Miss Bounce's teapot. Wow, nice piece. I like it. Yeah, this looks like a fitting prize for a natural-born winner. It's not a prize. It's a vital piece of evidence. Oh, it's just evidence? Then I'll have one of the forensics people check it out. Mr. Edgeworth? Is there some sort of problem with my teapot? Possibly. The minty fragrance we noticed coming from it. I think it might just be the scent of one of the chemicals used to make the poison gas. But, Mr. Edgeworth, surely you don't think I had anything to do with that? I'm afraid I do. The method used to create the gas would have required considerable preparation. Nobody would have had the time or opportunity to set that up except you. That's not strictly true. It took around a week to get Zodiac Hall ready for the exhibition. There were all kinds of people coming and going through here during that time. Delicia, for one. So you see, I'm not the only person who could have set it up at all. The scone is on our radar too, of course, so you needn't worry about that. And besides, I wouldn't know the first thing about making poison gas. So even if you did find some ubiquium in my teapot, wouldn't have any idea what to do with it. But I suppose we should see what the test results say first. Miss Bound claims she didn't know the first thing about making poison gas. Need to find a way to prove that she's lying. Edgeworth speaking. Sir, it's me! Is everything all right, Detective? Everybody's left the Winter Wing. It's just me in here now. Which means I can tell you what we found out. You really shouldn't be sharing information about the investigation. But after the past week or so, I'm not about to stop him now. The exhibits in here have all completely melted. All that's left in the display cases is some stuff at the bottom. More of it in the tourist case than the Gemini case, though. Describe this stuff to me, if you can. Yes, sir. It's like a pale blue liquid. I had the lab run some tests on it just now. Sample from the tourist case just had a bunch of sugar in it. But the one from the Gemini case had 3 different substances in it. Which were sugar, salt, and blood. Blood. What were the salt and blood doing in this Gemini's case sample? Can't imagine whose blood it could possibly be, but I'll get it tested right away, sir. Please do, Detective. Oh, I also spoke over the radio with the forensics guy working the fountain room. He said he just got word that the sugar they found in the fountain matches the sugar in the pale blue liquid. I see. That might well prove to be a significant development. She knows how to make she knows ubiquium, but not how to make poison. Well, we know ubiquium because we brought it up earlier. There was also the analysis conducted on the melted contents of the Gemini case. Anything else to report, Detective? Yes, sir. Found one of those light-emitting devices here in the Winter Wing, too. There were a few of those being used in the Autumn Wing to disguise it as the Winter Wing, if I recall. Seems that the equipment from 18 years ago was more than just for show. Need to talk to Miss Scone about this. Anyhow, I better be getting back to it. Let you know as soon as we hear from the lab about that blood. Yes, thank you, Detective. Was that Gummy? Seemed like he had a lot to say. He did, and it was all very useful. I'm going to prove that Miss Bound's claims about who could have set up the poison gas trap are false. I'll need to talk to a certain somebody who was here 18 years ago. Artie Frost, who's dead. So we're kind of screwed. Wait. Sugar composition matches that of the sugar found in the pale blue liquid in Artie Frost's room from 18 years ago. Sugar detected in a fountain water also seems to be a match. That's not what I meant to... Miss Scone, I'd like to ask a few questions, if I may. Of course, dear. Fire away. Anything for you, Milesy Smilesy, and dear sweet Tooth DK. I'd appreciate if that was the last time you called me Milesy Smilesy. I'm not a fan of Tooth Decay either. But we'll just have to like it or lump it. I can't change a nickname once I've settled on it. Ugh, well, I guess we tried. What can you tell us about the various devices used to decorate the gallery's exhibits? There seem to be some pretty specialized items in use here. Light-emitting devices, luminous fabrics. Oh, I can tell you all about those, dearie. After all, I'm the one who gave them to Moody Judy. It was my way of saying sorry after I broke the rule all those years ago. I bought her 4 lovely new salt lamps, and I gave her the 4 pieces of luminous cloth I had used for the contest. Wow, that's super generous of you. Well, us girls have to do our best, don't we? Not everybody understands, of course. That had better not be a dig at me, Delish. Told you how kind I thought that was. Like the salt lamps do it, no. Yes, back when you were a dear, sweet, innocent baby boy. What happened to you, eh? A dear, sweet, innocent baby boy? Mr. Fender? Can't quite picture that, I have to say. So these decorations, they're all the same as the ones you saw 18 years ago, correct? Yep, salt lamps, glowing fabric, light-emitting doodads, the whole bit. There were 4 luminous cloths in use in the Autumn Wing, but I'm sure I saw another one somewhere. Maybe we should jog our memory with something so Miss Scone will tell us more. Miss Scone, you're something of a specialist. How might someone learn to make the poison gas that was used in the attack, Any ideas? Well, any pharmacist who's ever handled Infesticide Ultra would know for a start. After all, it says right there on the label, do not mix with products containing ubiquium, ever. What about a layperson? It's unlikely they'd know, wouldn't you say? I suppose so, yes. Well, not unless they had a nose through the Ultimate Cookbook, anyway. The prize from the contest 18 years ago. The recipe for making Infesticide Ultra, along with the not mixing ubiquium bit, is in there, you know? So you're familiar with the contents of this book. Oh yes, dear, I know it inside and out. Because I work for the Tangaroa Group, you see. We're the company behind Cold Killer X. I'm sure you've heard of it. Yeah, I made that same connection before. Because they mentioned the Pesticide X, and then they mentioned Cold Killer like Neo or something like that. Again, really weird that they kept it as, they changed it to X in English. It was Z in Japanese. Use some Cold Killer right now, you got a cold. But hey Yandori. I hope you feel better. Cold Killer X fights back sniffles and sneezes with ease, apparently. After Sammy Poople was found guilty, the company took custody of the book. But they only grant their most trusted people access to it, of course. Which means Miss Scone is one of these elites, I suppose. Hold on, that badge of yours, it's not the same as Greggy Peglegs. That's right, my father was a defense attorney. I took a different path. Oh, I see, it's like that, is it? Well, I suppose it's to be expected of your age, dearie. But once you've grown up a bit, I'm sure you'll start to appreciate your old man a little more. Everyone goes through a little rebellious phase. Lord knows I had mine. My career path is not the result of some adolescent phase, Miss Scone. You had a piece of fabric like this in your bag, did you not, Miss Scone? Albeit a somewhat grimier one. Grimy? How rude. You won't get people to cooperate with your little investigation like that, young man. Shall I call it a dish towel, then? Perhaps you used it to wipe up some sort of spillage. A spillage, he says. Cheek! That's a piece of highly specialized luminous cloth. Oh, I probably shouldn't have told you that. I think I'd like to know a little bit more about this highly specialized luminous cloth, if you don't mind. Highly specialized luminous cloth. Why didn't you want me to know you had a piece of luminous cloth in your bag? Oh, well, I suppose there's no point hiding it now, is there? If you must know, I fished it out of the fountain. It was right before they called me into the Autumn Wing. So Larry's sketch of Miss Scone is of when she was trying to retrieve the cloth. At first I thought it was more of the ones I'd given Moody Judy. One of the 4 you've given to the gallery, correct? Exactly. But all 4 were being used in the Autumn Wing, weren't they? So I realized it must have been the one that went missing all those years ago. I already had my Infesticide Ultra pinched and used to make poison gas. One of my cloths turned out to have been used in some dastardly deed too. Well, I was going to look guilty as sin, wasn't I? So I kept it hidden in my bag and hoped for the best. I see. Oh, it does feel good to get that off my chest, though. Stress is no good for the complexion. So the cloth that disappeared 18 years ago, one of the victim was wrapped in, just happens to have reappeared in the fountain at the same time as the body. There's a missing word there, should be have reappeared, or just happens to reappear in the fountain. That should not be past tense. Gifted bound by Scone. Lost 18 years ago, only rediscovered floating in the fountain. Oh, look at that, a picture of silly old me. That's right, you seem to have caught the artist's eye. You mean lovely Lori Lambkin? I'd love to have a word with him and say thanks. Well, I'd be glad to introduce you. And there's the evil smirk. Oh, you really do carry some cute rubbish around with you, don't you, Milesy Smiles? What can I do? What I could do is cover it in whipped cream for you, then sprinkle a few... There'll be no need for that, thank you, Miss Scone. What kind of pharmaceutical recipes are in the Ultimate Cookbook? Oh, there are so many, it would take a while to go through them all. But if you really want to know, well then let's start the show! Come join me as we sing this song. It's a nifty, thrifty 2 hours long. Now one by one, we'll sing the things that the world's best little cookbook brings. What do you think, Mr. Edgeworth? Want to listen to the rest? No, that won't be necessary. I'm supposed to present here. Delicia gave me a few of those cloths. They light up when you attach them to a special device. How many did she give you exactly? 4, I believe. There were 4 luminous cloths in the Autumn Wing, but I'm sure I saw another one somewhere else. Get the feeling Miss Bound is hiding something. Damn it! Now I'm just doing the present everything until something changes a bit. If they find Ubiquium in that teapot, is that it for Miss Bound? She seems way too nice to hurt anybody. You mustn't judge a book by its cover, Kay. Though I do too have my doubts. I should talk to Fender and Miss Scone and see what they have to say on the matter. Tell me, Fender, what kind of person is Miss Bound? Huh? Wait a minute. Don't tell me you got a thing for her, Milester. I do not. Chill, chill, I'm just yanking your chain. Anyway, what can I say about Jude's? Well, she's a real brave trooper, for one. What else do you call someone who waits around for 18 whole years like she has for Samson? Even after his extended family kicked her out of this place. What? They threw her out? Yep. Jude's wasn't technically part of the family, so there was nothing she could do. She had nothing, nobody, and no job after Samson took the fall. So she had no choice but to take what he had taught her and make her own way in showbiz. She's retired from all that now, though. Yes, why did she retire? She'd finally made enough to buy the old place back. She even got the Ultimate Cookbook back from the Tangaroa group after they basically stole it. Guess this place and everything to do with it was all she ever cared about. So she just wanted it back. All of it. Fender seems very sympathetic to Miss Bound's plight. But from a less charitable perspective, she has, in a way, taken everything of Mr. Tangaroa's for herself. Oh wait, thought stuff. Sorry, I'm yawning. I'm not as sleepy as I was during the last Ace Attorney game, though. The Ultimate Cookbook contained instructions on how to create the poison gas, and the current owner of that book is none other than Miss Judy Bound. No way, you mean? I'm afraid I do. Miss Bound would have been perfectly capable of setting up the gas trap. Finally, we could prove that she's been lying to us. Learned a lot about our case, and about IS-7 too. Perhaps, and yet the truth remains shrouded in impenetrable mist. Still don't have enough evidence to pierce the fog? In that case, we'll just have to look for some more. That won't be necessary, Kay. I have all the information I need. Now it's just a matter of logically piecing it together in order to illuminate the truth. Sounds good to me. Have at it, Mr. Edgeworth. The Ultimate Cookbook. I like the sound of that. Don't even think about it. Come on, Mr. Edgeworth, you're starting to sound like a broken record. Just what do you think I am? A great thief? Exactly, the great thief Yatagarasu. The only thing I steal is the truth. Then why does this cookbook appeal to you so much? I don't have a reason to like something, okay? Also, the fact that it contains recipes for, like, cures and stuff that we could release to the public. So that no pharmaceutical company, you know, holds it ransom for like $1 million or some shit. What do I do here? The Ultimate Cookbook, but there's some humdinging recipes in there, huh? Any you might be interested in, perhaps. Who, me? Not that I could think of. What about you, Case Dorino? I guess I'd like to be a genius and invisible. Oh, and be able to fly. We're talking about medicines here, Kay, not miracles. Or like a burrito and a big fuzzy blanket. Nice. Burrito blanketing is something I don't get to do often. Help! Someone! What am I supposed to do? Have you read the Ultimate Cookbook, Miss Scone? Of course I have. I'm a pharmacist, you know, even if I do wear a big pink hat. I think it's cool you're a pharmacist. Well, so do I, dearie, so do I. Aren't you a sweetheart, my little tooth decay? Since when were you interested in pharmaceuticals? Shh, I'm working my magic, Mr. Edgeworth. Buttering her up so she'll do what I want. Anyway, Miss Scone, Delicia, I was wondering if you could maybe... Oh, how many times, you little cheeky imp? Once your name's decided, I can't change it. Dang, so much for the sneaky approach. What kind of great thief am I? Not a very good one. Got some blue matcha mix and some lavender oat coffee creamer, so A. You're making me want to go downstairs and heat up some DP. Have the guide page up if you haven't paid enough attention to see what's next. I don't know. I don't want to be told what to do next, but... know what to present anywhere. I do have tea and hot chocolate, though, if I really want it. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'll call my next picture. Verity's Grand Gaveling Gala. Oh, that's what I'll call my next picture book. Verity's Grand Gaveling Gala. A worthy sequel to Frenzy's Whippity Whip Trip, and another guaranteed best-selling blockbuster. Larry, could you please focus on the piece of evidence I'm showing you? Huh? Were you saying something? Ordered by Larry, of all people. I don't know what to do. Any logic in mind? No. Though, wait. I did... There was a deduction. I just remembered. Deduction. Yep, there it is. I forgot about it. He mentioned that, and then I did a bunch of other stuff. There's a clear contradiction here. There is? I can't see one. Maybe you need to take a break. Another cup of tea, maybe? Think it over a little more? Perhaps you're right. Looking at it again, I think I may have been mistaken. See Miss Bound using the serving cart with a white tablecloth. But something about it is nagging at me. I should take another look at the evidence. I was highlighting a cup. I should have been highlighting the table. That was weird. I definitely thought I was highlighting the table the first time, so I was right. Larry, could I ask you something about your sketch? Fascinated by the works of the great Maurice Donham, huh? It's the composition, right? Not exactly. This light blue tablecloth. You painted that exactly as you saw it, correct? I already told you, everything's exactly as I saw it. But the tablecloth in the cart in this room is white. Wow. Your head's so full of crazy theories, the simple stuff just passes right by you, huh? What was that look for? Listen, just before I drew that sketch, I was in the middle of some business with the cart, with the tea set on it, okay? Wish the original sprites in this remaster looked better, because I saw screenshots of the original game and kind of missed that sprite look. Yeah, the fact that they mixelated the edges is really gross. It just looks so bad. What kind of business? That's right, it was the hiding the pieces of the teapot I smashed kind. That's nothing to boast about. Anyway, I was still in the middle of cleaning it all up when Judy came out of the winter wing. I didn't want to get busted for breaking the pot, so I quickly dove out of sight. Wait, Miss Bound came out of the winter wing? Yeah, and she was pushing a cart. A different one. That's the one with the light blue tablecloth on it that I drew. And what did she do with this second serving cart? Well, I saw her go into the summer wing, but I don't know what happened to it after that. When she came back out, she was pushing one of those other carts. The kind you could lift stuff with. A lift cart? Yeah, so I called out to her, she just ran off and left it behind. Never had her down as the shy type, but it just goes to show, you never know. Another serving cart and a lift cart. Is there maybe another tea set, too? We better check with Miss Bound. Are there two serving carts here at the gallery, Miss Bound? Oh, yes, why do you ask? A certain so-called artist just showed us this sketch. I couldn't help but notice the color of the tablecloth. It's light blue here. Light blue? I'm afraid your friend must be mistaken. Only used white tablecloths, freshly laundered and starched. Like the perfect wrinkle-free one in the cart in the fountain room, right? Exactly. If I so much as saw a blemish, I would replace it right away. Would the color of the tablecloth in the sketch simply be a mistake on Larry's part? Do you have any idea what you might have been doing when the sketch was drawn? Let me see. I appear to be carrying out my usual duties. I'd like to ask you a little more about these duties, if I may. What exactly were you doing when the sketch was drawn? Because from what I could see, your cart doesn't have a tea set on it. I was delivering some chocolates to the investigating officers. Aw, now I'm jealous. I love chocolate. Well, there were a few left over, so here, for you both. I made them myself. Hope you like them. Whoo! Thanks, Miss Bound. Well, why not? They were a little melted, but I suppose it's because they've been sitting around in her pocket. Slightly melted after being kept in her pocket. Handmade by Miss Bound. They're super sweet. I love them. I'm very glad to hear it. They may not be the prettiest, but I'm grateful for the energy boost nonetheless. Though perhaps they could do with a little less sugar. Boop. Bip. And that's that. All that's left now is to await the results of the tests on the teapot. Very abrupt to be continued. Alright, you know the drill. I'm gonna be cutting this part off and then starting a new one.